Welcome back. Today, Lili is joining us. Lili is one of the students in our teacher training program. And I wanted to bring her on today because she has had scoliosis. And due to that fact, she's had back pain. She's had neck pain. She started yoga and nothing helped her. But a few years ago, she found Iyengar yoga. And she tells me her body changed completely. So as she entered the program, she still had a lot of difficulties, but through her practice and through the teachings that she's been through in the last year and a half, say, yeah, her body's changed quite a bit. So she's able now. She's been with me in Bali for several months and been practicing. She's a very good student. She's very serious, and she's been able to physically change her body and alleviate some of the pain that she's been experiencing, especially in her neck. So some of the poses that were not available to her before because shoulders were sinking, not understanding the right direction, not understanding how to do properly, body not being physically strong enough, she now has built up to a point where she can be in these poses and has built up over time, the duration she can be in the poses. So I wanted to bring her on today so that you could see and be inspired by the work that she's done. She's worked hard, and she has had to struggle to figure out her body and how her body feels. Those of you that have scoliosis know that you can't always feel the balance in your body. So even standing poses for her to be on her feet evenly, she's not always understanding how to get the feet grounded. So that today she's going to do inversions. And when we're doing inversions, we need to use the legs to really lift up and create some lightness. So through the work with her standing poses and her practice, she's able to gain that strength in her legs, which then translates to her hips and to the whole body. Okay? So thank you, Lili, for joining.
Thank you.
So I would like you to start with Pincha Mayurasana. So we're going to show Pincha Mayurasana, and she's going to go here at the wall. We'll also show Shirshasana, which she'll be using several blocks, 4 blocks, and then she'll end in shoulder stand, Sarvangasana, and we'll show you how to set up on all of those. So whether you're practicing at home and don't have scoliosis, or you do, or you have back pain, or whatever it may be, there is a way for you to approach the inversions once you've gotten that correct knowledge, information, and the direction for your body. Okay, let's get started. Before we start our practice, I wanted to let you know about my online programs and workshops. Whether you're new to Iyengar yoga and want to learn the basics in a systematic way, a seasoned practitioner looking to revisit the essentials, or a yoga teacher seeking inspiration, these programs and workshops are self-paced, allowing you to make consistent progress and revisit specific topics whenever you like. You can find the link in the description below. With that said, let's begin our practice today. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now, Lili, you're going to go to the wall and set up how you would normally set up for Pincha. She's going to have a strap and a block at the wall. The block is a spacer for her, so she can bring the arms the right distance apart. She's going to measure with the strap and buckle the strap up. When you're going into Pincha Mayurasana, you're getting this lift of the armpit chest. The back armpit chest is moving down, and the hands are placed evenly underneath the shoulders. So the block, bringing her hands around the block, that will help her to keep that space. And the strap around the elbows will keep from the elbows moving in and the hands moving out, or the hands moving in and the elbows moving out. So it keeps the structure, the base. We're always starting with our base. So the base here will be your hands and your forearms. Okay, So she has her hands around the block, the thumbs and the index finger is on the side, and thumb and index finger are pressing down strongly. Also, her inner wrist and outer wrist. So the tendency is for that wrist to lift up if you're not pressing firmly on the index finger and the thumb. So she's got herself placed there nicely, and the forearms are moving down. Okay, you can see she's got her head lifted. So in this pose, the head remains lifted. She's going to come, she's on her toes. She's going to come up into a half dog position. The arms are on the floor. All right, so now with her arms pressing down, her elbows are connected to her shoulder, underneath her shoulder, and she brings her back away. She lifts up through the hips and uses the legs to start to walk in a bit. So when you go up, she's going to bring both legs up and both legs to the wall. But before she does that, just know that the weight has to move this direction. So the legs are going to move over the shoulders. Unless you bring the legs up, you won't ever be able to bring both legs or one leg up. So now Lili's going to go into the pose. Good. That's it. Now bring the other leg up when you hit. That's it. Good. Extend your heels. Tell me when you want to come down. Now, lift the tailbone, lift the buttocks, shoulder blades in, shoulder blades lifting up, looking back, thighs lifting, reach up. Nice. Keep the heels scrubbing up the wall. Good. Well done. So Lili came up once. Her body wasn't quite ready, so it took her a while to come up, and she went up. I was holding her, but in past, she would never have been able to do that. She would not have been able to get that release of tension in her neck and the lift of her legs. So well done. She wants to do it again. She's determined. So she's a practitioner that is dedicated, and she will continue to do more and more, but she has to evaluate that you don't do too much either, okay? So you want to do another time? Okay, so she does. So I helped her and I brought one leg up. So this is often what happens, is when you kick up, touch the wall, see if you can touch the wall, and then that leg goes up and then the other leg doesn't go up. So both legs have to lift up. When the first leg goes to the wall, then you lift the other leg. Well done. Well done. So she was holding on her own. How does your neck feel? Good. Okay, good. So it's those legs that have to lift up. So when the legs are lifting up, the lower back is lengthening. You can get that curve to the upper back, and you can bring your head back. Okay? So your base, your foundation was good. You just needed to get that leg kicked up and then bring the other leg up. Okay, well done. You were balancing the rib cage. Yeah. Yeah. So because Lily has scoliosis, she doesn't always have the control of the rib cage. So that is something. If when you're going into Pincha Mayurasana and the rib cage is flaring out and it's moving direction, then that's going to throw you off. So this is something that she's been working on, and it was pretty good at the end. So you maintained that. So that's great. Okay, so now she's going to practice Shirshasana, headstand, which, because of her awareness of her upper back and her awareness of her legs and her strength that she's built, she's able to come into this pose now. So we're using some blocks. She's going to set the blocks up the way, just set them up the way you usually do, that you're comfortable with. So we're building it up. She's building it up so that there's going to be some stability for the shoulders. Not much, but just enough that she's keeps the awareness there, which when the shoulders and the upper back are in line and balanced, then it keeps the rib cage from going every which way. So that's something that she's been working on. So we're using the blocks, the 4 blocks, to help her stabilize the upper back. Okay? And with that, she can lengthen the neck and keep the sides of the neck long. All right, Lily, you show us. So she's interlacing the fingers. She's on the outer little finger side and the lower wrist and the forearm. So now she's on a different place on the forearm. Before Pincha, she was on the front of the forearm, the bottom of the forearm. Now she's on the sides of the forearm, where she can feel the bone. So the bone is moving down from the elbows. She's lifting up into the shoulders. And as she walks in, she can feel this block right against her back. Okay, so Lily's come up nicely. She's got her hands on the floor, pressing onto the wrist, onto the forearm, the elbow, and then she brought her legs up. And as she brings her legs up, she stands in Tadasana. Outer edge of the feet moving down, lifting up, scrub the heels up. Just looking to see where she is. She's right on the crown of the head. Bring your left ear down a little bit. That's it. Okay, good. Lifting the shoulders up. Back of the head moving down. And now she's bringing her legs away from the wall. So she's balancing. Because she's got that area at the shoulder blade at the back, she's able to maintain that rib cage and the upper back balance. Quiet breath. Ears are parallel to the floor. Tailbone, middle buttocks moving in. Lifting up through the kneecaps. And as she's there balancing, she's connected with the heels. She's connected with the mounds of the feet. So the legs are lifting up, as if she were doing Tadasana on the floor, standing pose. So feeling that upside down Tadasana. Imagine upside down tree. So the roots of the tree were lifting up into the heavens. And the roots then extending allow the body to hang. Bringing that lightness. Suspending all the abdominal organs, reproductive organs. Heart is relaxed as the blood is flowing down. The glands are bathed and soaked. Moving down into the brain. Quietness that comes. So whenever we're in an inversion, we want to make sure that we're holding just the amount of time so that we're not staying up and getting tired in the pose. So Lili, just whenever you're ready, before you get tired or you getting tired, then you come down. So stay as long as you want. Yeah, okay. You want to do Upavista? Okay, so she's going to do Upavista. So she's bringing her legs apart. The inner legs are lengthening. Outer hips, there's that suction of the outer hips. The muscles around the hip joint activated so the legs can move down, the thighs lift up, extending out through the heels. And here the lower buttocks is lifting up toward the tailbone as she moves her arms down, lifts her shoulders up. Maintaining that space, that length through both sides of the trunk. Do you want to come into Baddha Konasana? Bringing the feet together. So the heels are moving back toward the anus, the buttocks moving forward. Heads of the femur bone are lifting up. And then come back into Shirsasana with straight legs. When you come down, bring one foot to the wall and then bring the other leg down. Good. And then come into forward Virasana. So she's taking her knees wide, toes together. Release her head down. Shirashasana is an important pose for many, many reasons. Can help with lower back pain. Among one of the things, helps to strengthen the neck, the shoulders. And it's very helpful for things like constipation. So there's that space that's provided and the organs are able to release and suspend. Okay, come up into Padangusthasana to release out of Shirshasana. So she'll come up and go forward, taking hold of the toes. First lengthening out. She'll bring her hips over her heels. And she's getting that same curve to the upper dorsal spine. The head is lifted. And then without holding and gripping too much that it goes up into the shoulders, just let your elbows bend, let your head release down. So the shoulders are lifting up and then the head is suspended. Neck is lengthening. It's allowing the weight of the head to provide a little bit of traction. The neck is long. The upper back muscles are getting, and the diaphragm and the rib cage are all moving down. Bringing a little bit of softness to the upper back. All right, and then she'll come out when she's ready. She'll come out by taking her hands back on her hips, lifting her head in the shoulders, and coming up. Good. Well done. How'd that feel? Good. You were up there a long time. That was nice. All right. So no strain. Yeah, you were very quiet. It looked very peaceful, very restful. Good. Well done. Okay. So now let's do shoulder stand. And since Lily's been here, she's been using the pads, the foam pads. So sometimes we use blankets. Oftentimes we use blankets, but also we use foam pads. The foam pads provide a little bit more firmness. We have the gray blanket, so it's a little bit thicker, and then we have the white blankets. So often these are the blankets that you see in Pune. I have some of these, and I have the gray blankets as well. So when Lily's been doing her headstand or her shoulder stand, she's been using these platforms and putting just one blanket on. So with this, it's a little bit firmer, which I think has helped her with stabilizing the upper shoulders. One of the other students also had some neck issues, and using the blankets wasn't so supportive. So she's using these pads also, and it's making a big difference. Okay, so having that firmness, that stability, not too firm. There is a little bit of softness in it, and then the blanket. Okay, so why don't you set up the way you do? Okay, so she's setting up where her head is going to be on this end. And I'm going to put her in the middle here. Is that going to be enough? Okay, and then she's bringing the mat over. So the mat is going to be 1 thumb's length away from the end. So your shoulders will go here. The head will go on the floor. And then she has she's going to put a bolster here so that the hips are lifted. And she's going to lie down. Strap is in the right hand. Then she's going to organize the shoulders. She's measuring her distance. The mat is there to provide a little bit of traction for the arms. So we oftentimes will use the belt and the mat. If you were wanting to move forward on your practice and not use a belt, or you didn't have a belt, how could you keep the arms there, especially if you're in an environment where it's very hot? So this provides a little bit of traction, but also the elbows stay in line more. Okay, so now she's going to come up, bending the knees, pressing the hands down, lift the legs up and over, and then she's taking the strap on. Okay, just making sure that it's not going to be twisted when you bring it on the arms. And also you want to position it so that the buckle is not going to be on your skin. And the strap is just right above the elbows. Okay, so now she's going to stay on her toes, be on the pinpoints of the toes, getting the hips lifted as high as she can, and then adjust the shoulders. So take your hands behind you, rotate the arms, tuck one shoulder under and then the other. So you don't want to be on the backs of the shoulder. You want to be on the tops of the shoulders. Okay, and then she'll take her hands on her back. Fingers facing in, palm of the hand on the ribs. So the hands are providing direction for the back. So the back is lifting. The hands are not doing all of the job. The job is done by the legs. So that's why we stress standing poses, to be able to lift the legs, and that's how she's able to go into these inversions, because she's strengthened her legs and she can lift up. You want to have lightness. All right, so then she'll bring one leg up and the other leg up. Good. Now she used to not be able to do this. There was too much strain on her neck. So her neck muscles have been built up. She's got more balance, but also where she is on her shoulder and that firmness that that platform is providing her. This is good for her. So it's also good for one of the other students that had a neck issue as well. It may not be good for you. So everyone has to try and see which props, which setups are going to be the best one for your condition. So Lili has investigated, she's been practicing, and she finds that this one is giving her more support. So the elbows stay down, the forearms stay down, and the shoulders stay down. Buttocks is moving forward, tailbone's moving forward, thighs moving back. Every now and then, walk your hands down your back because the body sinks with gravity after a while, and also you lose your awareness about lifting. So continue to lift up through the heels, through the ball of the foot, and then start to measure. Where do you feel the weight? Do you feel it more on the right side or the left side? Press both shoulders down evenly. Lift up through both sides of the trunk, into the hips, and lift up through the legs. Coming more into this side. Lift up. So there's two-way action. The fronts of the thighs are moving back, the buttocks and tailbone moving forward and lifting up. So you're moving between those two planes, the front and the back, but also the sides. Outer hips moving in. You want to come into Ekapada? Okay, Ekapada with the right leg. Bringing the leg parallel. She can see which that hip dropping. So she lifts the thigh, she lifts the hips, and extends from the back of the buttocks to the heel. From the heel back, kneecap stays lifted. This leg continues to lift up to keep that lightness. And then bring the leg up. Walking the hands down, getting that lift of the chest, direction of the back body, shoulder blades lifting up. And then keep the other leg pressed up toward the ceiling and bring the leg over. So coming down with control so that you are not just throwing the leg down, but you keep that awareness of the outer hips moving towards one another. And the hip lifting up. Keeping that lifted leg straight up. Keep the outer hip lifted. So always being aware, if you're feeling tired, bring the leg up. If you're feeling any tension, if you feel that you're on the wrong place on the setup that you provided for yourself, then you come down and you make your adjustments. You either go back up or you stay down. What would you like to do? Hmm?
At the moment, I enjoy the posture.
Okay, so just stay in the posture. Just
For a long time, it wasn't unavailable for me.
yeah. So she likes being in the posture because she couldn't do it for a long time. So it's a really wonderful pose to just be in and not think about a lot of different things, but just feeling that alignment of the body, feeling that lightness, and feeling how the integration has happened. The muscles into the bone, keeping that contact. She's coming down now into Halasana. So when you come into Halasana, the legs stay lifted, hips stay lifted. She's taking her strap off. When she comes down, she's going to press the hands down into that bolster, the arms. So that's a counterbalance. So she can start to bring her legs down. One vertebrae at a time, if she can manage that. So she's lifting the chin, head is moving down, lowering the back. At any point, if that's too much, then you bend your knees and bring your hips onto the platform. Good. Feet on the floor. And then slide your head and shoulders completely off so that the whole upper body, rib cage, is resting on the mat, on the floor. Good. The She's in a little bit of a mini Sechabandha now, so her chest is lifted. Back of the head is on the floor. And as she slid down, the lower back is lengthened. So she has nice space in the lower back. Just letting the legs relax. Okay, and then slide off all the way. Bring your hips onto the floor. And then bring your feet into Baddha Konasana. Just be there. Adjust your arms, adjust your shoulders. Get that space across the front of the chest. All right. Then you can take your hands on your outer thighs, roll your legs together, and roll to your right side. Good. Would you like to take Shavasana? So taking the platform away. Just lie down, just to rest for a few minutes. You can take the bolster underneath your knees. So when she comes down, she's going to have the knees bent, adjust her pelvis. So have your head on the mat, so come down a little bit further, Lili. Slide down this way. Yeah. Now, do you usually have anything behind your head to support the neck? Okay. So because she's had some neck issues, how about if I roll it? Give you a little bit more.
Oh, yes, perfect.
Okay, so that's very supportive for the neck. She's been in 3 postures that were relying on her neck strength and movement. So now, because the neck, the back of the neck is on that blanket, it can completely release. So lengthening the back of the head, forehead moving down toward the chin. Let's just see when I put this underneath, lift up. Is that still supported?
Oh, better.
Yeah. So now here her forehead is moving down slightly. Before the chin was lifted slightly. So now she has that support for the neck, and the throat is able to relax and soften, which is important. So taking care of your neck, seeing what you need to do, how you can create balance between the front and the back, between the left and the right, how you arrange your shoulders. You saw in Pincha Mayurasana, the shoulders had to be in such a way in the upper back to be able to lengthen the neck and take the head back. So here in Shavasana, she's also arranged her shoulders so that that front armpit chest is still lifting and the backs of the shoulders are moving down. She adjusted first with her hips, and then her shoulders, her head, and her legs are resting. Backs of the knees resting on the bolster. So we always end up with Shavasana, no matter what your practice is. It's a good way to draw your senses inward, letting go of everything you've done, not only in your physical body, but your mental body. So we're always thinking, we're always wondering, we're always making assumptions and sometimes judgments. Just let all of that go and just appreciate being here now and what you've done, the miracle that the body is, and how the body heals when given the chance. So in Shavasana, the body is able to know what to do. Brought a lot of different movements and actions to different areas, your neck and your shoulders and the legs and the pelvis. So now that circulation moving into the system through all the cells, through all the tissue, through all the muscles and the organs. Taking time for the body to just being able to recalibrate and accept and integrate the direction you've given it. On behalf of Lili and I, we're going to say namaste.